Welcome to Media Copilot. I'm John Biggs. Today on the show, we're going to look at a brand new app. It's not even out yet, but it's making a few waves. With me, the creator, Micha Benoliel, and why don't you tell us about what you're working on, Micha?
Absolutely. Hi, John. Thank you for having me on your podcast. So, Click is a camera app that enables you to shoot a photo or pretty soon also a video, and prove that it is authentic and real. So we have launched yesterday. We are in private beta, so you have to join a wait list to before you can get access to the app. And we think it's a very important, potentially very important element to actually create authentic content,
Mm-hmm.
and more specifically when you have to share it on the internet. And so we look like 10 years from now, and we see this world with all these generative AI and content generated, and we think that if we can 10 years from now know when we go on the internet what is real or AI generated, it will have a lot of value.
So the goal is to identify true pictures, I guess you would say, something that a human has taken versus something that AI has taken or
Absolutely,
made. Okay.
absolutely.
And why don't you talk a little bit about the process, how it works?
So we use several technologies. There is a What is interesting is that it's a topic that is becoming more and more timely. I would say because on one side you have the more and more content generated by AI, and I think also it's becoming a bigger and bigger concern within people who are actually reading news or watching content on the internet. So we joined. There is an industry standard which is called the C2PA. It's an initiative that was pushed by Adobe and is now promoted by the Content Authenticity Initiative. So we use that protocol C2PA for provenance. So the protocol enables you to organize metadata, and that way you can associate when you take a photo or a video that metadata to the content. So it goes from the type of camera to the resolution to the location, for example. So we add to that all that information to the media, to the photo you take, for example, with Click, and then you can sign that content, and we make a record on the blockchain. So it's
Mm-hmm.
completely free for the user. And what the blockchain element brings you is a proof of authenticity and a proof of immutability.
What does the world look like when we really can't um, identify what's human and what's automatic? I guess.
Wow, that's I think we could talk probably for hours about this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a tough question, tough topic. Um, I mean, some people we say we're already living in a simulation. So
Hmm.
so you can argue that for some people it may not make a big difference. But I think it is very important is when you want to make sure that what you are looking at, what you are watching, what you are reading is actually true and is not content that has been created just to influence you. And I
Hmm.
think that's where it plays a very important role is to give a tool for people to actually be able to verify the provenance and make sure the photo or the video they are looking at is actually real and has been taken in the real world and hasn't been generated to just manipulate your point of view. So I think
Hmm.
in that regard, it's something that is very important, and and that's why we launched Click. We look at Click more like building a digital trust network. So what we would like to achieve, even if it's a simple camera app, is that down the road you can have a network where you know when you source content from that network or you look at content from that network that that content is actually real and has been taken by people like you and me, and that I think is very important.
And is there any way to, I guess, prevent a generative AI, a large language model, from training on the data that you guys produce? Let's say I took a photo and I don't want any AI to look at it, right? Is there a way to block them from looking at that information?
So that's a very fair point. I think it can be a premium feature we offer in the future where users can decide to opt out and make sure that no LLM will train on their data. Or since there is a blockchain
I guess it
element
would be
and
a
there is
diffusion
owner,
model or something like that, right? Wouldn't be a large language model, but something like that. Okay.
yeah, like a stable diffusion, absolutely. So what we could do also is, since there is ownership, is is give a way for models to eventually also find a way, if the user consent, then to actually use their content and maybe get paid for it. And
Hmm.
that's the advantage also of having something like the blockchain element and
Okay.
ownership.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been poo-pooing blockchain. I used to be at CoinDesk. I was I was a fairly big blockchain proponent for a while, but I thought at some point we were just talking about the same stuff over and over again. So there really wasn't a product coming out. But it seems like it's getting easier just to add the component to a tool to get one of the features like immutability, confirmation of truth, I guess you could say, that kind of thing. Has it gotten easier to build these sorts of tools? And do you think there's going to be more adoption of these tools?
I actually think that for a long time, we would say blockchain was kind of looking for applications in the real world. Um, and, uh, and I think content and media content like photos and videos is a great potential application for blockchain when it comes to proving the origin of that content and giving a proof of immutability. Blockchain is basically keeps on building blocks one after the other. So it's a great element to prove the time. So you know that if you record a photo or a video on click, the blockchain proof will tell you that basically it was for sure taken before the time it gets recorded on the chain. So it can avoid a lot of the problem we recently faced when you look at the news and everything that's happening globally. You saw that very often fake news are not necessarily generative AI content, but content that has been taken from another event at a different time in the past, and then basically that content was reused for a new event, and that's how basically you can get influenced, or and then you watch something that you believe is true, but actually it's from a time in the past. It's not from now. So
Yeah, that's an interesting question. How easy is it to go to query the database? Let's say there's a photo on Twitter that shows us, I don't know, a destroyed building, and it turns out the building was destroyed 2 years ago. There should be a fairly easy way to query against your database, assuming you had enough uptake and enough people were using it, right?
once clicks get widely adopted and you have a lot of content generated, yes, you can. Just look at the photo online or the video online. You can look at the proof associated to that photo, all the metadata, and verify that basically when it was taken um, and the location where it was taken. So you will be able to see all these things online, even if you don't have the Click app. So, and then you can embed that content in any blog post. You can share the link on the Twitter or X or on LinkedIn or any other social network. And when you share the link of the content you produced, it carries all the information attached to the content.
How long is it, do you think, before AI is going to be able to completely recreate a scene realistically? I mean, from scratch, right? So let's say we wanted to fabricate Joe Biden windsurfing with I don't know, the Swedish bikini team or something like that. How long before you think that the uncanny valley aspect of AI generated content is going to go away and it just looks exactly like we want it to look?
Well, I think that if you look at the recent tools of AI, you can already easily change the face of someone in a movie scene or
Mm-hmm.
in on a video that has been recorded. So if you had that video of people surfing, you could easily add the faces of whoever you want, including Joe Biden. Um, if you want to generate that image or that video from scratch, uh, yeah, so in that case, yeah, we probably need to be a bit more advanced, but I don't think it is that far. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I think we are pretty close. I mean, when you look at the progress between last year and this year, I used to build some AI products back in 2016 for chatbots, so I kind of understand fairly well the technology. I mean, when you see the progress within a year, you can imagine that maybe in the next 2 years, you will be able to see these things happening.
Mm-hmm. What is it going to take for Click or tools like Click to become widely adopted? What do you think is your biggest barrier to wider adoption? Because I mean, we have to argue that these tools are necessary, but what's happening in the market that's preventing these tools from taking root?
So you're completely right. The adoption is key, and I think it's the one of the biggest challenge we have with Click and building this network. So we think that there is a growth loop when you share content that has been created. I mean, taken through the Click app, photo or video, and you share it on socials. We think there is a growth loop because people will look at that content, will look at the provenance of the content, and will be interested to understand if they can do the same, and will often, we think, download the app and use the tool themselves. So I think the best way to grow the adoption is actually to have people who are posting interesting content. So people going to sport events, for example. Uh, we also have fun with the team talking about paparazzis and taking photos of celebrities, for example. But it can be the team of a celebrity willing to actually push online content to show that it is the original content and it is true content about the celebrity. So yeah, taking photos and videos at events, sports events, concerts, and also news. It is clear that if some people come across something that is of value and have the app and can shoot that video or photo at that time, then and share it on social, it's going to create a viral loop where people will look at it and we want to participate and help grow this digital trust network.
Okay. Do you think there's ever going to be a situation where maybe some of your technology gets embedded into, I don't know, Apple's camera app, that kind of thing? Do you think that's ever going to happen? Like a blockchain application on Apple, for example, on iOS.
I think that especially as Bitcoin gets more and more adopted and get more and more visibility and accepted by most people, then blockchain technologies will also get more accepted and used. I also think people don't need to know what's the technology they use necessarily. I think it's blockchain, but more importantly, we want it to serve the purpose of proving authenticity, and I think that's what people want. It's more so.
Okay, very cool. Where can people try this thing out? What's the website?
So people can go to clickcamera.app. That's the website. It's available on Apple today. You can install the app, join the waitlist, and that's the best way to get in quickly. And we love to get as many feedback as possible before we open the app to more people. And Android is also following. Yeah, we'll be excited to have any one of you who wants to participate in this digital trust network.
All right, very cool. Micha, thank you for joining us. This has been pretty enlightening. I think this is going to be an important part of content creation in an AI world, essentially, right?
I think we are living in a very exciting time, and I think AI has a lot of fantastic positive side. And if we can address with this app some of the, I would say, the dark side of AI, and it's going to be fantastic. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for watching / listening. I'm John Biggs from Media Copilot. See you next time.